All right, meat sauce. It's June 18th. My name's Reagan the Doom Wizard. We're going to get enlightened today because we are 90 seconds to midnight. Need I remind you, that means nuclear armed conflict, or the possibility of it, and climate breakdown are at our doorstep. In fact, they're in the house because the inertia already built into the system, the amount of time it would take to radically deindustrialize civilization, not to mention feedback loops already in play, ensures that our destruction is complete. We will inhabit a completely different world by 2030. Can you tell this country's going down the shitter when the Navy is on the verge of filing for bankruptcy? This from the Pentagon. Supply chain shortages and so on ensure that we don't have a fighting chance when it comes to competing with the world's superpowers, which seems to be on the horizon. What's happening in the world? This past week, North Korea launched 2 more intercontinental ballistic missiles, which landed into the seas of Japan. We'll go ahead and send a nuclear-powered submarine over there. Meanwhile, Putin decides to move nuclear weapons to Belarus, which he says was successful and would only use if he was tempted to and was losing the war. Seems like everybody's losing the war for humanity. We're in the last chapter of human history. If you really think that we'll keep the nuclear heads capped, we'll keep the silos, locked away while habitat for more than 2 billion people rapidly disappears in the next 2 decades, then you are delusional and live in an isolated bubble, perhaps haven't traveled that far or read geopolitical history. Think about it. Are you armed? Okay. Let's get to America. Let's bring it home. This country's going down the shitter. Evictions are up in every state and city because pandemic relief aid has run out and people are living with family members and friends. Good luck keeping a good credit score when inflation has you completely dry because corporations want to jack the prices up. Shootings? Oh, they're everywhere. This past weekend, dozens of people were shot at across the country. In fact, this year has seen more than 300 mass shootings in the year alone. Okay? Bringing back to climate, because we know this country's going to shit, we can't even lock up the orange man even though he was clearly indicted. We've already breached 1.5 degrees Celsius earlier this month, so 1.5 is in the rearview mirror. At this point, I see us fast approaching 2 degrees Celsius and billions of people with nowhere to move from places like India and Africa, which we're not even receiving data on to accurately calculate the risks going on over there. We can just safely assume that the Arctic will also be gone by next decade, thereby increasing sea surface temperatures to unfathomable levels. It's not the sea level rise, it's the dark waters absorbing more heat, where we know that the oceans absorb 93% of the heat and they're getting fed up, so they're spewing that back out into us in the form of more extreme storms. Talk about those tornadoes which killed dozens of people this past week. Tornado season getting more intense along with wildfire season and floods. But, I'll rely on old data and not really thoroughly research the subject, but instead pretend that I know more about it and argue with people online. UFOs, they're laughing. What other species ignores clear data and evidence when it's presented to them? I can't think of many. Perhaps another species in the universe got a little bit further than us and decided to go intergalactic, but let's not get into aliens or whooshed away by that. I want to keep it on the ground level, okay? Choose life. This is worth living. You can still enjoy yourself, even when you're at the park and you see neurotypical people, dumb normies walking around with their baby strollers and their kids. I saw a man with no arms yesterday. Okay? How's he going to do in the collapse? Or infants. And these neurotypical people, I can't even relate to them. Call me neurodivergent on the spectrum, label me, I can go into the DSM, but fact of the matter is most people are completely delusional. Okay, and ignorant, and you can't convince them of reality. You cannot, even the intelligent ones, you cannot present to them information and say, hey, doesn't this logically check out, that we're headed in the wrong direction. We were issued a code red for humanity in 2020. And I want to get back to the comments now that we've covered climate, politics, economy. You guys' comments are fresh. The things that I'm reading, this was actually going to be a responding to comments video, but I turned it into a rant. The things you guys write me are so spot on. It's the same things I was restating to myself and to my friends a couple years ago when I got pretty heavy into this. Yeah, about 2 years ago, I would sit down and hash out this whole subject with my friend David and his wife Sharon in Arkansas, which is being battered by extreme heat. And we just sat and talked and dissected this, and we came to the same conclusions you guys reach in writing the same things you already. So it's refreshing. It is. The Doom Wizard, that's the only manner I'll speak to myself in third person, approves. On that note, the reason why I kept the Doom Wizard as an alter ego, personality, character, is because I can make fun with that. This is me. This is who I am on camera. This is who I am in real life. What you see is what you hear. We're hopeless. We're going to lose everything. Okay? We're going to lose it all. There's no way you have a retirement. Okay, 2040 practically doesn't exist. Law and order will break down by the end of this decade. And I'm not even referring, this has been mainly about climate, a little bit of politics. Clearly we're in a dire situation with, as far as countries' animosity towards each other coming to a boiling point in, say, places like Taiwan and Ukraine, so on and so forth. More NATO members joining. We're sending basically armed forces to Ukraine to train. Okay, not even accounting for the whole spectrum of stuff. Forget AI. Maybe slight chance aliens come down in the next 10 to 15 years and introduce us to some fantastical technology that we've never bared witness to and can rapidly suck CO2 out, methane, which we know has been accelerating because of feedback loops. That explains the meteoric rise in methane emissions. Has been from natural sources that we enacted. Okay, we set in motion. 1.5 in the rearview mirror. We're heading towards 2. Hell, we'll go on to 3, 4 degrees, maybe 10 degrees Celsius, minus aerosols, if they're even still around, will take us 2 degrees Celsius off. This isn't me reporting this. This is the latest peer-reviewed research from the leading guy, okay? The leading guy of this civilized life, meat sauce organization of Earth, scientists who calculated using geologic records, not just tree rings, and found out that the rate of heating that we're inducing, man-made on the planet, is it's unrecognized in planetary history, how fast we're heating up this planet. And you feel it, and you see it. That's why your retirement is now. It's hopeless. We're going to lose everything. Okay? And if you're just so naive to think that we're going to hold hands and sing, again, kumbaya, when habitat and people can't live and billions of people have to migrate across the globe, we're going to let them in, right? Not be fascists, not, be nationalists or any of this stuff. And we're going to let them in. We're going to give them a house and habitat, provide food for them. When millions of Americans are getting evicted right now, when we're being price gouged just for existing. Oh, you want to live? That'll be $1. Another $1 just for standing up. Okay, we're going to lose everything. I'm not advocating for self-harm. Maybe this really isn't worth it for you. A number of my subscribers aren't happy right now, understandably. We're up against insurmountable odds. It's hopeless. Okay? Action should come from top down, not bottom up. Okay? The people can't organize. We're hopeless talking to each other. I can't go to the gym or the grocery store and scream about this and tell everyone we need to start writing to our Congress members. It doesn't work like that. You have to bear witness to clueless morons walking with their children, with newborns, like everything is fine, delusional. I can't associate with neurotypical people. I found you on the internet. You make me feel so much less alone in this sick and twisted world. Okay, there's a national suicide hotline. I'm not recommending it. If you want to go, I recommend using a 9mm hollow point at the very least. It's quick and painless. But that's dark. I'm not going there. Choose life. You choose it. Experience all of it that you can. Do the craziest shit you can imagine. If that's being useful, if that's going, writing in the most least polluting way, you can still have the craziest experience in these past few years, these last few years of human history. We're in the last chapter of human history. Law and order will break down by the end of this decade. Feedback loops will be permanently evident. There will be mass migration, mass famines, people dropping dead like flies in the streets around the world and the equator, among other places. Political strife, countries in South America falling apart, migrants. Didn't we just talk about nuclear war? Okay, we're 90 seconds to midnight. Everyone will be screaming or dead by 2040. I see the exponential breakdown, and so do my subscribers. Thank you for being here with me. This has been What's Happening, June 18th. We're done. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.